Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Red Valkyrie Presents. I'm, of course, Shae the Red, with my amazing co-host, Alex, aka CY.borg Valkyrie. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing awesome. How you doing today, Shae?
Honestly, I'm fucking exhausted today. But I'm super excited because we are here with an incredible creator, Martin, for the Radiant site, which is something a little different than what we normally cover. And I'm super stoked to pick Martin's brain about it. How are you doing today, Martin?
Oh, I'm tired. I had a long night last night of eating Japanese barbecue. So
Ooh.
my belly is very full of meat today.
Yeah, I would feel bad for you, except you got Japanese barbecue, so I don't feel bad for you at all.
Yeah.
Like
No,
not even a
absolutely.
little. That sounds amazing.
Well, to be fair, we did have some fruit on there as well, so it was vaguely healthy.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, we had
Fair
some
enough.
we had some pumpkin and some
Oh.
mushrooms and stuff that we grilled. So yeah, it's like that counts as health food.
Ooh, that sounds very good. All
Mm.
right. So before we kick it over to you for the pitch, what I want to do is actually play your video that you have because I'm really excited about this because it's such a different take than what we normally cover because you guys are focusing on like more of a K drama, which
Hmm.
is awesome and exciting. So we're gonna watch the video and then I'm gonna throw it over to you and we will go from there.
Okay.
The city of prosperity. Riches for some, but for the masses, scraping by is all they can do. Meet Bitna. It's a rough life, with an even harder reality. Living in the roughest part of town, it looks impossible to make it big. But maybe she will find it in a simple dress.
Simple dress.
The Radiant Sight, a new romance story by Martin Fisher, now on Indiegogo.
I love it, especially because we've had people saying things like, um, there aren't any like romance within CG or within the indie comic scene. There aren't any like kid stories or any, all these different genres. And Red Valkyrie just keeps finding them all and bringing them on. It was like, really? Because this is a romance right here. This is a K drama inspired kind of manga that is awesome and exciting. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about the Radiant site as well as what kind of inspired you to create this story?
Okay, well, the simple kind of story of it is you have this lady Bittner and her best friend Chloe. They live in a poor part of town, and yeah, they want something better, like anyone else would in that situation. But they're surviving as best as they can. And then one day, unexpectedly, Bittner inherits a dress from an aunt that she never knew that she had, and so circumstances force her to. Well, they don't force her. She decides to wear the dress, and she discovers that when she wears the dress, um, she is the most beautiful person that anyone has ever seen. But then when she doesn't wear it, that effect goes away. So the dress has an effect on everyone that sees it, basically. And then when she meets a chaeable heir at at a party, when she wears the dress, she kind of falls for him unexpectedly, and then also he falls for her because of the dress.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it proceeds to go on with this romance story of him trying to find her and her wanting to get back with him, but she fears that he'll reject her because of where she is, and because he's rich, she's poor. And then it kind of diverges where she starts to kind of live two lives as the lady in the dress and the lady who doesn't have much.
That's crazy.
And
So
it gets very
it's really, it sounds really close to like almost like Aladdin, like the whole wishes and prosperity and everything, on again, off again, Cinderella. Yeah, kind of. It
kind
does
of,
kind of
kind
hit
of. I
that.
mean, there's no free wishes and there's no fairy godmother involved in
Right.
this. But there is, as you find out as the story goes on, there is a dark side to this dress. It's not just it. I kind of liken the dress to the ring from Lord of the Rings. It can give you great power, but ultimately that great power is also corrupting, and it's what it does to you that kind of matters.
That's really interesting. Oh my gosh. And while you have Bitna over here being meek and timid
Yeah,
and just kind of whatever abuse comes her way, she just seems to kind of take it. And
pretty
because
much.
she's,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the way that she's drawn, the way in the couple of panels that I've read, her personality, it's almost like she feels like she deserves to be treated poorly because she is poor and she understands that's just her
Hmm.
place.
There's
But
another
then
really.
and then you got the obverse of her roommate who was like literally being robbed at knife point. And she's like, oh my gosh, just calm down. And yeah, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Like, you don't rob me. That's not how. So you have like the aggressive, like, I am not going to be pushed around, with the most timid, like, oh, I'm so sorry that you found a stain on your clothes. It's entirely my fault. When in reality, it's like, who knows? This guy could be a grifter. And like, I brought you another bag of dirty clothes to get it washed for free because I'm an asshole. Like, literally how it could have gone.
Yeah,
And
pretty
she's
much.
just like,
I mean,
that's my bad. Oops.
yeah. I mean, because it's inspired by Korean drama, you do get quite a few of those characters in Korean
Yeah.
drama who, as the drama goes along, they kind of start to come out of this shell. And it's
Yeah.
very much the same with Bitna. Even the name Bitna, the name Bitna was deliberately chosen because in Korean, the name means to shine.
Oh.
So obviously, when she wears the dress, that's exactly what she does.
Right. I mean, that's the funny thing, is because it almost has that like stereotypical feel of like, the power was within you all along kind of thing. Except that the power really, like, this dress really is transforming her in quite a big way, but it may be kind of unlocking her personality and her confidence that she's attributing solely to this like mystical dress, when in reality, like, that has to be in her for it to get unlocked. It can't just fabricate from nothing
Kind of. I mean, it's very hard to say anything more without giving away
without
what.
revealing.
Yeah, because the series is planned to be 6 issues in
Okay.
total, and it's fully written. I've written all 6 scripts. I'm done. My kind of job is done on the writing side. I'm finished. I was finished a little while ago. I mean, God, I think when I pitched the story to Mike and he said, "Yeah, let's go and do it," I think I got to the point where I'd written 5 scripts and I was planning like 12 or something, or I could have gone on longer than that. And Mike said, "No, actually, you've only got 6." And he was like, "Oh, crud. Okay." So I had to just basically go back and start cutting big chunks out of it to make the whole thing fit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks really interesting. I love how you have the traditional manga kind of style, but obviously in color, which is not normally how mangas are. They're usually in black and white, but the color really adds a lot to it, I think, because it's adding a lot to the emotion. It's really helping elevate. You see just how defeated she is right here, and you've got all of
Yeah.
those blues and the sad and the kind of, it feels kind of heavy and dark, and And then when you see her in the dress and you see how everything just shines and shimmers and everything's golden.
Yeah, it was like a deliberate choice. So Yannick and Ellen, who are the two colorists, they're from Germany, and they actually color some of the Lego Star Wars stories that I write as well. And yeah, there was that deliberate choice of when you're in the posh city of prosperity, everything is, as you said, it's golden, it's bright, it looks beautiful, it looks rich, it looks expensive. And then as soon as you get to Havenstown, which is where Bittner and Chloe are, then it's all dirty, it's grimy, it's run down. So you get a sense of what they're having, of what the two kind of halves are having to live through. And we've got the cover there by EJ Sue, who is he's a friend, he's a fantastic artist. He's worked on Transformers and Godzilla and Astro Boy. And yeah, he's really got that with that concept with the bad part of town on the left and the nice part of the city on the right. So you can see
Well, I mean, even the sky, if you look at the two halves of the sky, in Havenstown, it's all gray and sad, and all the buildings are brown, and like even her hair is limp, and it just super plain and straight. And then on the other side, everything's blue and shiny and happy and pretty, and her hair just magically is flowy all of a sudden. The hair that every girl wishes that she has, and that almost none of us can really achieve because it's a pain in the ass.
And her skin is glossy. And
I was just gonna say that you did the highlights on her skin, and so like half of her, she just looks.
Yeah, she's glowing on the nice half as well with that pink
Yeah.
glow.
Oh, so it's so good. And I think that it's really cool the seamless transition in so much of it. You know, like everything just looks more supple and more beautiful and more glamorous on the right side than it does on the left. And it's just so interesting to see. Like it's so stark.
It's another thing that you get on many of the romantic K-dramas as well, where you get the lead female character who's usually had not pleasant backstories, had a bit of a hard life, but then as soon as they get into a situation where they would like dressy, suddenly they are the best person and the most sparkling person that you see on the screen. It's one of those like a K-drama trope, if you like.
Yeah.
That you'll see.
Well, it reminds me of that. It's like the sexy librarian. You have like, you take like a really beautiful girl, but then you make her kind of frumpy. You don't put makeup on her, and you give her like big ass glasses, and your hair's kind of unkempt and everything. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, we have to, you're going to a ball, and you take off the glasses, you let down her hair, and all of a sudden, she's just absolutely stunning. And you're like,
that's it. Yeah, and then the hair like flows out and it goes like this.
They do the shake, and you're just like,
and the shimmer.
I hate you so much. Like
that's it. And then like everyone kind of looks around. Some guys drop their glasses. And
oh my goodness! Did you see her?
That's that's the one.
Love it.
That is the one.
that's the trope.
That's the trope.
Oh, we got Jay Fairclough. Who says
this one's going to be. This one's going to be a little bit tiny bit different when she turns up at that party and she's got about 20 guys rushing her all at once. You don't necessarily get that.
There it is. Thank you very much, Maverick Valor Studios, for the $2 super chat. It says, "Hail CY.borg Valkyrie, hail Gaslight. It's nice to see you, sir. Thank you for hanging out." And yeah, I like that you're sticking with a lot of the stereotypical tropes, but you're putting your own little twists on them, because as much as that kind of stuff seems cheesy or overdone or a little over the top, at the same time, especially when you're talking about romance and you're talking about like K-drama and you're talking about all these different things, it isn't really a K-drama if you get rid of that. It's like, that's like a cornerstone of what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So you've, there's so many tropes with particularly romance dramas. There's usually a scene where the two characters get caught in the rain. You know,
Yep.
there's always the
Have to
scene.
share an umbrella or duck
That's
under
it,
some
or
kind of a bus terminal or
that's it.
something, and then
Yeah, and they have to get like this close all of a
yep,
sudden, and
every time.
there's every time, and there is going to be that scene in there at some point as well. And I've seen it a lot in a few recent dramas where there'll be a scene of like someone walking down the street or crossing over the street, and you get like one of these like Uber bikes or Uber Eats bikes that come along, and they're coming along at a high speed. The person like sees it at the last second, and then the guy usually swoops in just to say fall over and catch them.
Yeah, sweep them off their
That
feet and save
kind
them in
of,
the
yeah.
last second. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, that's it. And they stop them from hitting the ground, and then they have that eye contact moment where it like click.
Yeah. Well, and it's always
Yeah.
so funny too, because when you're watching these, because it's a drama, so it's overly dramatized on so many things.
Yeah.
So when you're watching this as a person, you're like, you had to have seen this bike for like 5 minutes, and you just stood there going, oh, instead of like 2 steps, just take 2 steps, and then you wouldn't have fallen, it wouldn't have been a thing. And it's like, yeah, but then she wouldn't have met her love. You're like, oh gosh, it's so cheesy, but at the same time, like, it has to be there, otherwise it isn't a K-drama.
Yeah. If the scenes weren't in it, it wouldn't feel like it's been inspired by any Korean drama at all. So, I mean, if there was more space, then there would have been more. Like there would have been probably a drinking scene. There would have been a scene where the male character usually carries the drunk female character back home or something. But
or if they get sick randomly, or if they faint because something just so traumatic happens that they faint, and now the male character has to lovingly carry them home and tuck them in on the couch.
Yeah.
Make sure that they're okay, and has a glass of water waiting for them when they wake up, and all of that with a little note.
Yeah. we didn't get to do all of them, but we're getting as many as I could.
Well, so here's the funny thing is I understand all of this, and I don't watch or particularly like most of these. Like when it comes to what Shae wants to watch, I want the action, I want, the fight scenes, I want the horror and the suspense. Like that's normally where I go. But I can appreciate a good rom-com. I can appreciate a good K-drama from time to time. And especially, there's just moments where like estrogen flows high and you just go, I just need to watch as many of them as possible.
Speaking my language.
Right? Well, that's exactly what's besides. Like, let me take extra estrogen and then we'll sit down and watch K-dramas together.
No, I'm not going to cry.
I mean, as I said before, out of the 67 that I've watched so far, you'll be surprised how many of them actually have a reasonable amount of action in them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The action is very well done. And there was one K-drama I watched about a month ago. I would say it's probably got the best car crash scene I've ever seen committed to TV. Where it looks, the way it's edited, the way it's staged, it looks totally authentic, and you could easily buy the fact that this crash happened.
Oh,
where
wow.
a lot of them look so like other dramas from other countries can look hokey, and it looks fake, and it looks like it's been staged. But this just is on a totally another level.
Well, so that's kind of the thing that makes me interested so much in this book, is because not only is it incredibly well done and in color, because the one thing that I've noticed when I picked up manga is I get sad that I'm not seeing this in the colors that I know they would have picked for them, where it would have been, this would have been incredibly vibrant, and this would have been just really like playing into that soft pastels, but like that work for where they are. And this, when because of anime, what kind of color choices they would have picked for the manga, but instead you have black and white. Seeing this be in color is exciting. And then the fact that it's based off of a K-drama instead of any of the other dramas, because like we were talking backstage, a lot of American dramas are incredibly hokey and very linear, and they all have the same every single season of them, it's the same stuff, just it happens to a different character. So like, oh, so and so had an illegitimate child who is now coming back to claim an inheritance, and nobody knew that they existed. And it's like, that happened in season 2 and it's happening again in season 5, but it's a different person's kid. And you're like, it's the same thing. It's the exact same as what season 2 was. We're just changing the people. But with K-drama, they flesh it out so much more. There's so much more involved, and you grow to really like just the way that it's filmed, the way that it's presented to you. You really feel for the characters, and as they start going through the more stereotypical tropes, like you actually get invested in it, and you want to see what happens because you've grown to love these characters. I'm not entirely sure how K-drama does it, and like the Latin dramas don't, the American dramas don't, because I can give two shits less about any of those characters. Every time I see somebody go on to one of those and they open their mouth to say one line, I'm like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You are absolutely entirely fake, and I don't see how anybody loves you as a character. But when you see it with K-drama and with even, you know, Japanese, any Asian dramas, they do such a good job of making you be like, oh my gosh, I really feel bad for this girl. And then you see things get better and you're like, oh, it was so nice that it got better for her. Like, oh no, now it's gone. Oh, what's she gonna do? And like, you end up so invested in it, despite the fact that it's hokey.
It's I mean, the way they tell the stories is a little bit different. The structure of how they sell it is different out there as well. So you do notice a lot that every episode will end on like a cliffhanger or something like that. But when the next episode picks up, you'll see a scene that you didn't see coming, but you'll see how that scene connects to the cliffhanger from the end of the last episode. So you may see something else as part of that exact same scene, but in a different context. You get a little bit more added to the scene that brings you back into that scene in the next episode. So from that perspective, it's really different.
It is. And it's really funny because as much as I'm not a Family Guy fan, right? There was that one episode where they were talking about Quagmire being in a K-drama and he didn't speak Korean. So like he didn't actually know any of the things that he was saying. They would just tell him to say a line and he would say it. And he had no idea everything that was happening.
Well, Conan O'Brien did it.
The thing that was really funny is those cliffhangers like you were talking about. So in that episode of Family Guy, the guys get hooked on the story. Like they were first watching it because they wanted to rag on their buddy being in this K-drama. And after the first episode, they were like, but wait, are there more? And he was like, oh yeah, this went on for a while. And they were watching all of the episodes. They get to the second to last one, the last episode Glenn didn't have. And they were all like, they like rioted because they didn't have it. And they're like, but what happens? Like, we have to know. So they all go to Korea to try and find the last episode so they can see it. Like, that is how dedicated they get. And it's so funny because it seems unbelievably ridiculous, but at the same time, when you start watching these, if you can't find that next episode, it's infuriating because you're like, no, I was so invested. I got to know what happens.
Well, luckily, I mean, we're so lucky with Netflix now. They just put unless it's a weekly series, they just put the whole lot up. You know, so we don't have that problem. Yeah. Very, 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 very luckily. But originally, when we were doing the book, it was going to be a black and white book. And I think I said to Mike, no, this has got to be color. It has to be color. And then it was a case of, well, you're gonna have to start putting your money where your mouth is if you're gonna want it in color. Yeah. You know, so because I've been lucky that I do write Star Wars books for Lego, I've done some Jurassic World, I do some Batman as well. That there's a little bit income to kind of put my money where my mouth is on this. So I got a recommendation from one of the artists on the Lego book. Said, I work with these two colorists. They've done actually work on your stuff, but you've never met them. Let me introduce you to them. Yeah. And then that's when the conversation started. And then it turned out, I think they'd watched a little bit of Korean drama as well. They were very well versed in anime and manga. And then, yeah, we kind of went from there. And they've been great. You know, they come up, even on the, can you go to the cover?
Yeah.
The first cover?
That one.
Yeah. So originally, when that cover came in, the logo was a bit smaller. It was blue, and it wasn't highlighted as much as what it is now. But one of the colorists, Ellen, got hold of it and said, "Oh, I think I can do something with this." And she made it gold. She made it bigger, and she made it glow. And the handle underneath it is that actually means it translates into the dazzling sight, because in Korean there isn't a word for radiant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so she made that a little bit bigger as well, and that's why we've got it as it is now, because Ellen decided to do that and make it better than what it was.
Well, and you know, I gotta say, I love the way that it looks. Like it's there's a lot of gold on this, but the fact that you managed to have all of these golden tones without them blurring together and just looking like a bunch of yellow, that's phenomenal. I love the shine that you have going on Radiant Sight, and as again, we're going back to the stereotypical the hearts for the eyes, having the little hearts dot them.
That was my idea.
So it's so normally so campy to do that, but in this scenario, the way that it's done, I have stared at this I don't know how many times. It took me until just now to realize. I was like, why does that look a little different? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a heart. And I was like, oh, it's just too perfect, because it's subtle enough that it doesn't look like when you're a kid and you doodle, but it still has that kind of enduring, you know, romance kind of feel to it. And I think that it really, really helps having the shine, having the hearts, having the, you know, the glow and everything. And then the slight sparkles over your girl. It just really, it makes it feel special. It makes it feel radiant and glowing and beautiful. And I think that you've done a phenomenal job in getting that across. Because every time I see this cover, every single time I've seen this cover, I'm like, I have to get this book. Like, even if I don't like the story, let's say that I go and read the story and I'm like,
yeah,
I have to get the book because the cover is so beautiful, and the entire cover tells a story, and it's beautiful to see that done well, because that's hard to do.
It's a whole. I mean, the whole thing has been a real collaborative process. So the artist Arch, when he did the cover, and then Ellen and Yannick, they colored it. The actual gold on the wallpaper, that wasn't there. It was more of a whitish color. Then I showed it to Arch, and Arch said, actually, I think it should look like this. And then he made it into that wallpaper pattern that you see there now. And I think he put a little bit of a glow effect on Bittner in the dress as well.
Yep.
And he made it he made the dress a bit shade of pink, especially down the bottom as well, because originally it was just completely white. And it was, I think, fairly pointed out that it looks too much like a wedding dress. If it's just white, it needs to be something else to make it stand out. So
well, and she's so pale that, you know, putting a ton of white on something so pale is going to kind of wash her out. But the way that there's that tiny little bit of pink and purple hue, especially in the shadows, really kind of brings it out and shows that delineation from a pale person in a white outfit. So Chris Fisk says, do you think this could be a good gateway book to get girls and wine moms into comic books? Got to broaden that market here in the West.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean,
I love that you said wine moms.
Or beer mums, I don't care. Vodka mums.
Yeah.
Vodka moms. They don't read for long. They're just one page and they're out. Well, I love how everything on this cover is a rose. I love that.
It is, yeah.
Her earrings. Yeah. The fringe on the dress, the kind of applique on the dress, the wallpaper,
The
what's
roses.
underneath her.
Like everything is like roses and vines and leaves, and it feels very organic, but it's so pretty.
And then obviously you look in the mirror and you see like her normal life and how kind of plain and ordinary it is compared to what she is when she's
on the right, how I wish I dressed. On the left, how I do dress.
That's so true.
Yeah, this is my normal time. This is my fantasy time.
Exactly. But see, that's the thing is like I said, this entire book tells such a story, and the way that you have the gold tones and the shines and the lens flares and everything that's there, it really sells this lavish feeling. And then you see this small little reflection, almost like the locked away normal part of her that is just drab and dank and looks sad and uncertain. Like even her facial
dank. Holy shit.
Right? I know I'm being brutal, but the thing is like and this is what I was telling Cy that I noticed. Even her hair color on the cover. Her hair in the mirror is dark plain, no highlight early. You don't see anything. And then all of a sudden it goes from that deep chocolate brown to this like beautiful warm honey that has much more dramatic highlights and lowlights, and everything's flowy and it shimmers, and it's just such a good story. And it's
the power. Yeah, it's the corrupting power of the dress.
Well, and it almost almost feels like it's foreboding. Like she's so caught up in this lavish lifestyle, and this piece of her that's the real her is getting more and more locked away. Because it's now confined to just this tiny little mirror.
It gets complicated. It definitely gets complicated.
I'm sure.
Issues, because every time she wears it, just kind of creates a little bit more of a problem. So it's like she has good intentions while she's wearing it, but what it ultimately does is totally different. And you'll see as we go along exactly what happens. The whole thing is deliberately planned out.
The dress is really Venom. I knew it.
It's a very glamorous Korean Venom.
Yep.
Oh, there's no teeth on this dress. Definitely.
Oh, I love it. Look at Mike.
There's no teeth, but it's all rose thorns.
Dress relationship status. It's complicated.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It definitely is, because I mean one of the other elements is if other people see her in the dress, would they not want it as well?
That's true. Especially if they knew it was her and they see the change and they're like
there's kind of there's like a vague backstory of where the dress comes from, but then there's a more fleshed out backstory of the dress's previous owner, which was Bittner's aunt. And you'll see that backstory played out over the 6 issues as to exactly what happened and why she ended up with the dress in the first place.
Yeah, I can't imagine it was something good.
This is the first romance story I've ever really done, because I'm so used to playing in a galaxy far, far away, or in Gotham City, or at Jurassic World, or somewhere else. But this is the first time I've ever tried to do anything like this. So it's really out of my normal comfort zone.
Well, I like that, because I feel like that's probably elevating your storytelling, because since it is so divergent from what you normally do, it's important that you do it well. And you don't, right. And you don't, like, obviously nobody ever wants to fall short, but I feel like when it's something that you're less comfortable doing, the focus ends up being a lot more intense to try and pay attention to make sure that you don't have any of those silly little flub ups in the story that end up drawing people out of it or making it less dynamic. When it's something you're used to, it's easier to make those mistakes because it's your comfort zone and it's harder to see those. Eric has a good question. He says, is this dress the same one that Helen of Troy wore when she caused the war between Sparta and Troy?
No, but it could cause a bigger war.
Oh, that's concerning. I feel like that was a pretty big war.
Like I said, I could compare the dress to the ring from the Lord of the Rings, and look what that thing did.
This is really intriguing.
So wait, what you're saying is by issue 6, we're going to see Frodo in the dress. That's awesome.
Maybe. I mean, you'd have to
and then Sam carries him bridal style up to Mount Doom.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, I thought we could have Sam carrying Frodo, so it would be exactly the right height. Otherwise, those hobbits are just too damn short.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, not to mention their feet may be a little bit of a giveaway.
Those are some big heels. Not high, long.
Maybe.
Like clown shoes.
Okay, now we're going into the Uneven Sight, the sequel.
Let's go over your tiers because I feel like this is such an interesting book that I want people to get their copies for sure, because this is such a different thing than what we normally see in a lot of indie comics. And I, for one, even though this isn't my preferred drama, I love having variety and being able to be like, I'm having a day. I don't really feel like blood and gore, and I don't really feel like, the normal action or the horror. I just want something that's going to, make me kind of feel for a second, even if it's not necessarily good feelings, even if it makes me feel kind of sad.
There's a couple of other story techniques that we did deliberately put in there. So from time to time, you'll see like a panel is actually repeated as the story goes on. You'll see a panel from a previous issue that is repeated to give a little bit of context to what's going on. And in those panels, usually the color will be diluted, so it's kind of like a flashback. So it's not in the present time, just to give that little bit of context. And also, it's the same for any scene that's set in the past as well. So you'll see Bittner's family come up, and those scenes when they're set in the past will also be diluted as well, so you can tell they're in the past. Because there's only, I think in American TV, there's only one TV show I've really seen that kind of did that technique, and that was Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Because it was such a continuous story, occasionally they'd dip into a scene from a previous episode, but it was always in black and white. You'd see that flashback in black and white, then you'd go back to the scene. That's the only other time I've really seen it, but Korean drama uses it a lot.
So I'm full disclosure, I'm entirely biased, but I love that. And the thing that's funny is I've got one short story that was published with the Kill Journal, and I got to do a backstory for Marty. And the way that I had Adam talk to the artist about doing it was the initial panels as it was progressing through would fade from incredibly diluted, almost black and white, up to full color, because it was going over her time as a child and her with her father and growing up and learning how to, make explosives and blowing shit up and stuff like that. And as it progressed through, it got a little bit more saturated until it was full saturation. And the point of that was you're getting closer to the present. And I love the fact that I'm not the only one that appreciates that kind of subtle storytelling, because I think that it's very impactful when it's done well.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to the panel where you see Bittner in the dress for the first time, there is a particular glow effect that you'll see, and I had to go through a K-drama and find the scene, do a screenshot, send it to the colorist, and go, "This is what you're aiming for when we see it
right
for the very first time." So you get that like whoa kind of feeling.
Yeah. overwhelming
put
kind of
yourselves in
shock.
that okay, Daddy, do what you want. Have
Well,
$500.
that's the
That's
thing. Color is such a good storytelling tool when you're working with a visual medium like this, and it's whether it's working in film or it's working in graphic novels and comics. It is such an interesting, unique storytelling tool because certain colors psychologically make you feel certain things. So you plastering this cover in gold makes it feel expensive, and the few times that you diverge from gold, you go with something that looks like almost marble, like Corinthian marble with this kind of white and gray swirl tones, or you do plush red velvet. All of those together all sell expensive, all sell lavish. That's what we associate with it. Same thing with when you show Bitna in her home and everything's gray and drab and blues
and cracks it makes, on the wall, and
it really helps sell. Like, yeah, you could draw cracks in the wall, you could draw plaster falling off, and it'll look less glamorous, but adding in the color where everything looks like it has a gray wash over it and everything looks just duller and you don't see these really bright colors, that is what really sells that mood. And so I love that I'm so happy you did this in color. I feel like it elevates and helps the storytelling that's already there so many more steps.
Yeah, I mean, with the 6 pages we've had so far, every time we saw one, me and Mike are just going, "Wow, this is actually probably exceeding our expectations."
Because, that's awesome.
Because as soon as I showed Mike the Lego samples, you could tell just how good they are as colorists, and then obviously
that's so cool.
That the work speaks for itself.
I'm very glad that you have such a good team, and Mike's an awesome person. I love that he's helping with the publishing side of this, and I'm really excited hearing your passion behind why you wanted to do this and hearing you talk about the story. It makes me really excited to get into it. So really quick, let's go through your tiers, and so everybody knows how they can back you. So what is your featured tier here?
So we've got the cover by EJ Sue, of which there is only going to be 50 of them printed.
Awesome.
So that's 15 euros for that one. So it's limited edition.
2 are already gone. So if this is what you want, you definitely need to get in on this quick, because this campaign is not very old. It's first couple of days. So I'm just saying, like, get in on it. All right. And then we've got, wow, you were doing a very inexpensive digital copy.
Yeah. We've got digital copies. We've got physical copies as well.
Awesome. So the digital copy is €3. Physical copy for the standard cover, right, is 10.
Yeah, for the standard cover.
Double copies.
So 2 copies. So you get a little bit of a discount if you get 2 copies of the comic.
Awesome. And then a retail pack.
Yes. And hopefully we're going to have another perk put on there soon, an art perk.
I was just going to say, the most expensive perk you have is $35. I'm going to need you guys to get other stuff up there for sure.
Yeah. We've got, there is something we're hoping to get up there as well with regards to like some original sketches.
Okay.
So as soon as that's kind of nailed down, we'll have that on there.
Perfect. Yeah, I was going to say, Mike is not new to this. He definitely knows. I guarantee before even having you on here, he already knew I was going to say, like, you got to have a more pricey tiers so it helps you get to your funding goal. But also, it's a really interesting concept. And so if people want to support you at a higher level, you might as well put it up there. Worst case scenario, it doesn't sell, no big deal. But if you put it up there and it does sell, then all it does is help.
Yeah, I mean, heck, if I could draw, I'd offer it myself, but I can't draw diddly squat. So that's not. I probably couldn't even draw diddly squat. So unfortunately, that's not even.
Well, I think that I think having some original art pages and sketches and stuff would be really cool. Sketch cards would be amazing. And consider maybe looking at doing some mini prints and stuff if you have like of the covers or of interesting splash pages that you particularly like or that were big for the story. Being able to offer those in a mini print that could fit inside the comics, so shipping would be easy, but also people can kind of immortalize some of those blockbuster moments that happen within the story and be like, oh my gosh, I remember when that happened, that was insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we haven't got any double pages in there.
Even if it's a single page, like a pan-up type. Yeah, if you did, I'm assuming this is just based off of what my mind would assume. When she's in the dress for the first time, I'm assuming that is by itself.
No, it's not.
You didn't do a single splash page? Oh my gosh!
Not for that, because there's so much to get into that first issue that they're just. Otherwise, we would have gone over the page count.
Chris says sell a dress. I mean, if you
needs must.
If you end up going, go check out a couple thrift stores, see if you can find a older wedding dress style thing that is close enough to that style, and then sell it at a markup.
just add on a shit ton of roses.
Yeah, just go get some lace rose applique and just sew it on everywhere, and then be like, you could own the dress for only
Mike, I leave
$1,500.
Mike's God in this case. I bow down to the power of the Almighty.
Look at Mike just laughing. He's just laughing at the chat. You know it would sell, Mike. Come on now.
Mike, if you do supply the dress, though, you have to model it for the campaign.
Oh my gosh! I feel like
there are images and I can't get rid of them in my head. I'm not sure this is good.
Mike puts on the dress and then he's, I'm an amazingly pretty little Korean girl.
While he's stroking his beard at the same time.
Yes.
Yes, I feel like that has to be a stretch goal. If you guys
that's a really big stretch goal. Oh my god.
I don't think that you know what? Make it an attainable stretch goal. So you've got a pretty decent flexible goal and you still have a good amount of time left. Mike, if you hit 2K, I'm just saying, if you hit 2K, I feel like you should be in a dress, stroking your beard. I'm just saying. Just throw that.
And then he has to shave it, which is never going to happen in a million years.
I think that he would have to get 10,000 for that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and he would look totally fabulous as well.
I mean, look at him; he's down for it.
Yeah, I mean, anyone. I mean, the whole point of the story is that anyone, man or woman, you put that dress on, you are fabulous. And you are
exactly.
Radiant. You are radiant.
Oh my gosh! And then you could offer, as part of the stretch goal, you guys could offer him in the dresses a mini print and add in all the lens flares and the glitter or sparkles and whatever you have to.
I tell you, there's a limit to the lens flare. I mean, yeah. I find lens. I mean, you can have the lens flares strategically placed in places, but yeah, I mean, God, there are some movies that
it'd be hilarious. Be like, look at how beautiful it made Mike. I'm just telling you. And then you could turn around and sell the dress at $1,500, and be like, you could get yourself this beautiful dress that's going to make you look as good as Mike does.
I mean, God, there are some movies I can't watch because there's just too much lens flare. It's like, calm down.
I mean, could you use lens flare to cover his chest hair, though?
No, you got to show that. That's got to peek out of the top. That's got to curl over the lace applique a little bit.
Actually, we're going to put a bow on it. We're going to put bows on all.
Put bows in his beard.
No.
He's like little
No, because then he'd look like a Viking.
Not if you did little white bows with little crystals in the middle.
I'm speechless.
I just got Martin to picture it, and he was like, "Oh man, I don't know." My luscious red locks flowing in the wind.
I feel like if we keep going down this path, I'm going to have to phone the police. I'm just going to call the cops, because this is just like to uncharted territory that I wasn't planning on going into. I mean, God, even Christopher Columbus couldn't find this with a ship and a map.
Mike is on board, so that's all I'm
Mike's
saying.
down. Look at him. I'm just saying, it's a good 2K stretch goal.
Oh, 2K. I thought we were going 10K.
No, 2 now.
Oh, I said 2.
Mike's 2 into it, so
yeah, it's got to be 2K.
Yeah, it's now like $5.
If it was
he's in.
10K was the beard shaving that I don't think he'll ever do anyway.
Well, thanks to this conversation, tomorrow's Lego Star Wars writing script is going to be very interesting.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I don't think Darth Vader is meant to be wearing a white dress.
He's fabulous.
It's so good.
Hey, Vader's always fabulous. He has a lightsaber, baby.
Right?
Just make it, instead of red, just tint it a little pink.
A little bit pink, yep.
Yep.
Little pink. We'll put a little ribbon on the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too good. Sai, do you have any other
fabulous, my beauty.
Do you have any other questions for Martin?
No, I'm just gonna say when he ignites his pink saber, there needs to be glitter, just like a poof.
Yeah, but then that'll just blind us. That'll blind the stormtroopers, and they won't know what the hell they're doing after that.
Okay, they can't shoot anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that'll just make it even worse. Then they'll just be falling over each other even more than what they already do.
I mean,
I think Johnny's onto something. Mike seems like he already has those pictures somewhere.
Truth.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, this is so exciting. This is a really interesting story, and it looks like you have such a great team on it. Like, you seem like you're really dedicated and know what it is that you're wanting out of this story, which is really, really exciting. And you've got great, artistic talent on this. You've got Mike helping with the publishing.
Yeah, I was
going to say, are phenomenal.
Yeah, we've got all this great talent and Mike on this book as well. So
yeah.
No complaints. No complaints.
This is an exciting one. I'm super stoked to see you guys do well, and I'm really excited to see somebody bring something different to the indie comic scene than what we normally see. And I think it's going to be just so much fun. I think it's going to be such an interesting story, and it's I can already tell. Like, I already feel for Bitna, and I know almost nothing about her other than she just seems like this poor little girl that just should be more confident in herself without the dress, but I don't think she's going to. I think that she's going to go down the bad path for a while. It's going to take a lot for her to realize.
You'll see. You will see.
It's so exciting to see something so new like this, and I really, really hope that you guys are super successful. So I wanted to thank you so much, Martin, for coming and joining us, and thank you, Mike, for being in the chat.
And I would say as well that there is the potential of a follow-up as well, because of the way it's ended. There is definitely potential for more.
Oh, that's exciting. Oh, that's good. I'm super stoked for this. Sai, I want to say thank you for setting all this up and all the behind the scenes stuff that you do. Very much appreciated.
Absolutely.
And our beautiful chat. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Please share out the Radiant site. Back it multiple times. You can get just an insane deal. It's very, very
please.
affordable.
Thank you.
And I want to see you guys get into funding quickly. I want to see you hit your funding goal without a problem. I know it is a flex goal,
Yes.
but I want to see you guys get well beyond your funding goal, because you definitely seem like you've put the work in, and you deserve to have that success. And I want the 2,000 because I want to see Mike.
You want to see Mike in a picture and a dress.
It's gotta happen.
Well, if that's
Chris,
not
thank you
motivation,
so much for
nothing is.
backing. That's fantastic. Chris is backer number 9.
Well, I thought maybe he's number 10. We were on 9. Maybe
It goes
10.
weird. Sometimes
It goes weird. Sometimes there are refunds. Sometimes someone's payment bounces, and so it gives different numbers. It's
weird stuff that happens, but it evens out at the end.
Well, we say, Chris, come send me down.
Cheap comic, and hey, give it to your little sister or your wine mom.
oh,
Or your vodka mom.
Okay, that's why. That's why.
Ah,
Chris backed at the beginning. That's why we were at 9.
Right.
That
Or
makes
your
sense.
non-violent soccer mom, hopefully. I'm not bothered.
Or
Your
maybe give
circus
it to the
mom.
violent soccer mom and see if she can find her soul.
Yeah, your chess mom, your rugby mom, your NFL mom. I don't
All of
care.
them.
Whatever mom you like, as long as they read it and they enjoy it.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And Martin, seriously, it was such a pleasure talking to you. I think that this is going to be just amazing. So thank you guys for being here. We love you all, and hopefully we will see you again at 8 o'clock for Dig 2 Graves. Until then, bye.
bye.